champagne or rum, achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne.
Hello.
Oh,
I don't know why do I always speak first? I should just sit here quietly. And
no, you're the boss. You speak.
No, you're the host. You know, it's your show. You're the boss, honestly. I'm the one who wants to sit quietly, really. But welcome, everyone. Another Your Menomorphosis fantastic event hosted by the legend herself. Oh, Dr. Lisa.
Oh my gosh.
It's all right.
You want this, Dr. Lisa? I swear you're gonna have people hating me.
go.
People that work to get their PhDs.
They'll get over it. Those haters, they get over it. No,
Oh,
when they realize that you're the genius of in your field. I know you're the genius of your field because I see you around. Your show yesterday, the one you sent me the link for, it's very good. Everyone's like, Lisa, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. I'm like, no,
oh my God, not even close.
It was good up.
Yeah, it was good to do a local show. Yeah.
Yeah, like it took me a while to realize that you're all local. And I was like, oh, they're all local.
Yes. All from Trinidad. Yes.
Small word, but no, you're shining, Lisa. You're shining. It's amazing.
Shining
just trying to get the word
and
out there.
voted for. I have voted for
Yes.
you.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm nowhere near winning, but it was just lovely to see people support.
What do you mean you're nowhere near winning?
Oh, they gave us you could see the percentage of people that voted for you. So by the time I logged in, probably hundreds. Someone is a clear winner. Oh, but that's not why I did it. The responses and the support that was heartwarming.
If you told me that I wouldn't have. No, it's visibility for the magazine. It's free visibility.
Yes, and it's a great magazine celebrating great women. So yeah,
we want your face on there, Lisa.
I'll be in the magazine. Don't worry.
Okay, that's all right. Welcome, Kim. So glad you're here. I haven't seen you for a while, Kim.
Yes. Hi, Kim.
Sugar Daddy Kenny's here as well. Yeah, you get over it. I don't call him that. Other people call him Sugar Daddy. So.
I wonder if he'll come on stage and talk about what he eats when he doesn't feel like cooking a good meal.
But Daddy Kenny is nowhere near midlife. He's still young, right?
Well, the show is open to everyone, so I'm sure you could still come on stage.
The link is in the comment section.
What is the midlife section, Annie? Where is midlife now?
It's where I am, 50. Yay.
50.
Yes. This doesn't concern you, Paulette. You're far too young to be anywhere near.
Yeah, Paulette and her pristine skin and her locks of hair that she
over
has.
the bloody hill. I've gone over the top.
Doesn't look it. Yeah, right.
I can't see the pepperoni. Kenny can see it. I can't. I'm missing something.
Yeah. So StreamYard on LinkedIn is doing its thing again, and we can't see everybody's comments.
It's a real problem. Kim says she misses you, Lisa. Doesn't miss me. Doesn't miss Paulette. Misses you. Yeah. It's all right. We'll live, Kim. As long as you're here.
She means all of us, I am sure. I haven't seen her in such a long while. Yes.
Exactly. She's been away for a while. I'm glad you're back.
Oh my gosh. Let me use my phone to see if I can get these comments that we're missing.
Well, you can't see them, or
I'm seeing some of them, so I'm just checking to make sure.
I know why I can't see them because they're on your LinkedIn. The event is in your LinkedIn, so even though it's on, if it was on my LinkedIn, it would be better. But it's all right. It's fine.
That's okay. We'll get them. We'll get them.
Yeah, Dr. Marcia, thank you so much. That book behind me, Lesson learned from COVID. Dr. Marcia's in that book. So, and she has got many other books. I think got four or five other books that she's published. So she's a Christian leadership legend.
Yep.
So do connect with her and do go along to her rooms and check out her books as well. Kenny, how am I meant to say any of this? Save the flavor. I can say that bit.
Oh my, yes, that's just wow.
Of the awesomeness.
He really has a gift.
For sharing such beautiful, well-articulated, eloquent, stated, heartfelt show filled with nuggets of wisdom, kindness, goodness, patience. Oh, goodness, right?
We're going to take the whole show to read that, but it's a beautiful sentiment, and I thank you.
I'll see you tomorrow, right? We get the idea, Kenny. We get the idea. No, it's wonderfully delicious and all that, right? Coach Ashif, welcome. Glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, with the great nuggets that he posts in the comment section.
I don't want to say Kim's name again. Love any building you up. Yeah. See, Lisa? See, Dr. Lisa. Now I can really go crazy.
Yes,
Thanks,
you can you can sleep well tonight. She has acknowledged you.
Yes. I said Dr. Melissa here right now. You say, Dr. Melissa just shouts at me. I'm not a doctor like you used to. Don't worry, Dr. Melissa. You get used to it. And then you mellow out a bit. You calm down.
Yeah, you get used to Annie's way of talking.
Annie's quirk.
just ignore it and move on.
It's better that way. As long as the rest of the world listens, you can ignore me.
Yeah.
Okay. Adrienne, welcome. Rob, I don't think we've met before. Rob,
no, I think Rob is new. Welcome.
Superb to have you here. Oh, Noni, pepperoni, you show up at last. Hello, Noni. Again, the
naan to my roti.
Yeah, taste the rotis over there, and the naan is on the screen.
In the comment, yes.
This is Noni's genius to come up with these names, and they stick forever.
She is a genius. Yes.
If you haven't been to her show, Sing Your Heart Out, do connect with her and do come along. Lisa and I normally there. We're normally there most Friday nights, but now the time's moved. No need, honestly. The whole point of a party on Friday night is to have it late.
No. But leave it where it is so that some of us can attend.
Yeah.
Not fall asleep in the show. She has it a good time.
It used to be 5 a.m. in the UK. Yeah. No, 3 a.m. That just throws me, right?
And you should be asleep. You're supposed to be asleep at 3 a.m., okay?
I got work to do, and the pastor used to keep me awake and help me work harder. So, that's my excuse anyway. Hello, Michelle B.
The first Michelle is here, yay!
The second Michelle will be here as well.
Okay, Annie, next time, can you tell me before you're going to put me on?
Well, he wasn't supposed to put you on now. We have stuff to share first, but...
I mean, I could have been picking my nose.
I can take you off stage. Henry, thanks. So glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. Genius 101. That's you. That's you, Lisa.
Rob is saying that he's getting tornado warnings. I hope you're safe wherever you are.
Whose masterclass is coming out? Is it your masterclass, Lisa?
Oh, okay. She may be talking about something else, but I have a workshop this Sunday on how to eat healthier to give more tips. So, especially women.
No, stuff that we don't know is news to me.
Yeah, I'll share it in the comments.
I'm not invited. Clearly, Paulette, you're not invited either, by the way. So
that is so not true. But it's a woman. It's targeted to women in menopause. Yeah.
I'm just not invited. All right, I can accept that. I'm not a woman in menopause. I'm all right.
Yeah. Well, no, wait a minute. Am I invited? Do I get to?
Of course. It's a free
You're
event.
A woman. You're all right. It's just me. She doesn't want there, so it's all right.
It's a free event. Don't worry. I'll put the links again in the comment section. You don't have to worry.
Okay. So I was like, I love coming to yours.
What's the topic, Lisa?
It's going to be tips on the same topic we're talking about today. It's going to give more actionable steps for women going through menopause. Yeah.
Okay, superb. What time?
Yeah. It's 4 p.m. Eastern on this Sunday.
Okay,
and it's over Zoom.
9 p.m. in the UK. In the UK.
In the UK, yeah.
Okay, and Nigeria. I'm just saying. Hashtag.
Shall we
And
get started with the show?
we started. I'm working with our friends. Dr. Melissa says I can only stay accountable for a bit for seeing your heart out. My show is early the next day, so at least you
Yes,
joined.
the show is very early for her.
Yeah, and thanks for giving us the cue to talk about Lisa's masterclass, Noni. But she didn't. I don't think Noni really cares about your masterclass, Lisa. She says it's about her.
Yeah, she should have a masterclass on being fabulous.
Yeah,
But
she's
she
doing
is.
that. That's what she was talking about. Not yours. Yeah.
My bad.
Can you please send the invite? Says Rob. Yeah. You mean for the masterclass, or to join the studio to share today, Rob?
Yeah. Well, the masterclass it's for menopausal women.
You're not invited, Rob. You're not invited.
But when we get the conversation started, if you have any questions or anything you want to share with us, you're free to come on stage. The link is in the comment section on LinkedIn. Yes.
Superb.
Should be, yeah.
Christy, glad you're here.
Hi, Christy.
Anyway, let me stop talking now. Lisa, it's all yours.
Well, we're supposed to introduce
you
ourselves.
Tell who you are,
too.
You tell who you are. No, I'm not doing that. I refuse. I'm sorry.
Come, highlight each of us so that we can introduce ourselves and get the party started. You can start with yourself. Don't start with me. Jeez. Hi, everyone. I'll go last. You go first, and you're muted. Oh, jeez. And Annie, you're still muted.
No, I'm not muted. Not anymore. No, so I'm Annie, and I guess my company is Global.Media. Simple level. I do two things in life. Two things. One thing. Am I a bit loco? Yes, I am. I'm tired. I've been here 6 hours already. So
yeah, Tuesdays are long day for you.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I help people to write their book, publish their book, and sell their books. I guess it looks like I'm the only one who can make people a guaranteed bestseller on Amazon. It's a gift. If your book's not selling, let's talk. If you want help to write your book, I've got a team that will help you. I've got writing coaches, I've got writers, I've got ghostwriters. So either way, we can help you write your book. And then my trick is doing the layout and putting your book on Amazon. Sometimes it's hard work. Sometimes it goes smoothly. That's my life. So after we do your book, then we tend to do events. So if you want help to organize events like this, to co-host them, but just organize and let you do your thing, then let's talk. That's me. I can sit down now. You're probably not going to hear from me again today until the end.
That's not true, but let's give Paulette 2 minutes to introduce her lovely self.
Okay.
While I log in.
Sorry, I don't know how I got to you, Lisa.
Yeah, I don't know why.
And,
oh my goodness.
There you go, Paulette. Now you're on mute.
I'm on mute. Right, okay.
Yes.
Can we make sure we've all voted for Lisa? She's a few hundred behind, apparently, but we can change that. So let's get in there and vote for her to be the cover girl that she deserves to be. So that was the first thing. Second thing is, most of you know me, Paulette Hallam. I've been board and director, managing director. Then I became a therapist, a counsellor, and then I started writing children's books because I couldn't get to every child. So the way around that was to write books to guarantee that children get the help that they need by reading Jack and Water books. So that's what I do. I'm really here as I think more of a just a perspective, really. I don't have my equipment anymore. My plumbing's been removed, so I no longer have the issues. Although I still have the sweats that we talk about. So that's an interesting one. So when you talk about menopause, you can be 60, as I am, with no plumbing, and still have the issues with the sweats. So, you know, I'm an anomaly, but I'll let Lisa explain more about that. But that's me. And as I said, most of you know me anyway. So nice to see you all.
Yeah. Now they're looking at me. Now we're gonna stick with you, Paulette. No, I'm not gonna take your screen. Right. Now we're going to Dr. Lisa. Here she is.
Oh boy. Yes. So first, I am not a doctor. So please ignore any.
Are you sure?
Oh my goodness, ignoring you. Yes. I'm a dietitian, an educator, an author, and a transformation coach. I focus on women's health issues, but I really focus on that menopausal journey because women still don't have enough information, don't get enough support, and we don't have enough awareness for both men and women and their support system. So my purpose every Tuesday, every other Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, is to talk about some aspect of menopause, some aspect of a way to support the menopausal woman. And today we're talking about how to eat healthier when you don't feel like it. Just to go back to something that Paulette said about not having her plumbing. So you enter into menopause naturally. Most women enter into their 30s. I know the research says 50s, but I think that research needs to change. Most Black women and brown women, women of color, start in their 30s and actually have more intense menopausal symptoms that last for longer. And that means their risk for things like heart disease goes up. So this is another reason why I talk about menopause so much. She talked about not having a plumbing. So when you have hysterectomies, either partial or full, your body gets shoved into menopause, and you are in post-menopause until you die. So Paulette, you can be well into your 70s and 80s and still be experiencing menopausal symptoms, which a lot of women don't realize. So, I mean, yeah, fun times for us, right? But again, because we don't have the right information being shared, this is why I show up on LinkedIn so much to talk about menopause. Today, I really wanted to talk about how to eat healthier. What does that even mean? And how to eat healthy even when you don't feel like it. This really hit home for me the last 2 weeks. I found out that I had an uncle on both sides of my family who were dying. One passed over the Easter weekend. And it was a real struggle for me to stick to those healthy habits and to take the advice I give to my clients every day. I really just wanted to sit or stay in bed and, that Netflix and eat the ice cream and stuff like that. And I had to go back to some of the advice that I give and I share on these platforms and to my clients to really help me and motivate me to eat the foods that would support me. So it wasn't really about eating more vegetables or being quote unquote healthy, but eating the foods that would have supported me at the time I needed it. So I just wanted to share, first of all, what I mean by eating healthier. And then we can talk about some of the struggles or challenges we may face, especially when we're entering into midlife and menopause. And that's anywhere from age 30 onwards. And what you can do right now or today to support your well-being. So when I say or I talk about eating healthy, I'm always talking about going back to those plant-based foods. You will never hear me say go vegan or go vegetarian, because food isn't just about nutrients. It's about the access you have to food, the cost you have to pay for food, how many cars you have to take to get to the supermarket that you go to, the country that you live in, the temperature that you face, culture, and just plain old food preferences. So there are many things that go into why we eat what we eat. But the research clearly shows that when you eat more plant-based foods and you focus on those first, it helps with everything, including menopausal symptoms, lowering risk of disease, lowering any sort of disease symptoms, even coming off of medication, focusing on those foods are where you want to start. So I know for a lot of people, I'm in the Caribbean, we usually start with a piece of meat and then find things to go with meat. I'm asking that you change the way you think, change your mindset, and put veggies on the plate first. Not saying not to have meat, but focus on those plant-based foods and get excited and curious about what those foods are. So it's not about eating steamed vegetables or boring foods, but we have things like the University of YouTube, where you can literally get a recipe for anything you're talking about. So using more spices, things like curries are a great way to have those veggies, right? So when I'm talking plant-based foods, I'm talking about your fruits, your vegetables, peas, beans, nuts, seeds, and your whole grain foods. That also includes things like oats, things like provisions. So focusing on those foods first, and then if you want to have, let's say, chicken or fish, that's fine. I would always encourage lowering or reducing the amount of red meat that you have, because red meat raises your risk for things like heart disease, and especially for menopausal women, especially when we're entering into that menopausal stage. So from perimenopause onwards, your risk for heart disease shoots up, and it shoots up higher than a man's risk. So if we're already at risk for heart disease, we should try not to have foods in our diet that we eat consistently that will also raise our risk. So, and I'm seeing Nick talking about having curried chickpeas. So I think spices and herbs don't get celebrated enough. They aren't just for flavor, they have lots of nutritional benefits. So pairing things like chickpeas with curry powders, cumin, fenugreek, using things like basil and oregano and parsley and all the herbs that are available to you, whether dried, whether fresh. The more of those foods you eat on a consistent basis, your risk for disease goes down, and the way you experience those menopausal symptoms goes down. And it also affects your mood because it affects your gut health. So the plant foods that I'm talking about directly affects your gut health, helps you grow that good gut bacteria, and it directly affects your mood. So one of the things that menopausal women complain about or experience a lot are things like anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and even suicidal thoughts. Eating more plant-based foods helps you feel a lot better, both physically and mentally and emotionally, so that you don't experience those things as often. Right? So I just wanted to make sure that I shared that before we really get into the second part of the topic, where when you don't feel like eating healthy, what do we do? And I now realize I'm alone on stage. And Paulette, I wanted to bring you into the conversation because I know was it Monday for your wellness room, you had a conversation about mood and food. I know you're getting sick again. Oh, Lord.
I've stopped coughing. It's okay. Yeah, we really did have a conversation about mood and food, and it's no surprise that when people feel down or low and their mood is low, that they crave sugar because they look for something that is a quick fix. It's no surprise that people who are hungry and really can't be asked to go and cook something because they're either living on their own or the whole family would have eaten by the time they got home from work, then I can understand them stopping off at a drive-through or whatever. The point is, when you do that, it can become a habit. So, we had a guy called Damien there who was really good at saying, look, don't allow those habits to creep into your life. Have something prepared, like leftovers. I mean, my husband loves the leftovers drawer. I don't know what's wrong with him. He just makes meals out of all kinds of concoctions. But the point is, he loves leftovers. I don't like to eat the same thing twice, but he'll eat it, you know. So we're making lasagna for like 8, and there's 2 of us. I'm like, by the 3rd day, I'm like, I'm not eating lasagna, right? But I just say freeze it. Well, then if you do that and you put it in a small container, like we said, the drive-through, all you got to do is come home, get the little container out, put it in the microwave, ping, and you've got a hearty meal in a container that you've cooked. You haven't got to go through the drive-through, and you know what's gone into it. You know all the goodness that's gone into it. So I think that what he was trying to say was, if you don't allow yourself the habit, then it stops. But if you let the habit creep in, it becomes, well, it was only once this week, it was only once last week, it's once a month or whatever. It's like, don't use it as a treat, because it's no treat. It's not good for you. Therefore, why would you put it into your body? He was talking about sodium a lot, about all the sodium in the foods that we consume at these places. And so, it wasn't a downer just on fast foods, but it was about that mood thing. When we are hungry, we want a quick fix. When we are driving to the garage, why do you think the gas stations have all of the bars of chocolate and the crisps and the whatever right at the front, so that you go, oh, by the way, I'll just grab one of those while I'm here? It's almost as if they've read your mind. Yeah, I can't wait to get home. I'm starving, hungry. I'll grab. So all the time, people are messing with your head, and you don't even know they're doing it. But trust me, they are. They're planting the seed of, I think I need that. I think I might need that bar of chocolate. I think I might need that. I think I do need that. Do I need that? Yeah, I think I do. And then before you know it, it's in your bag, right? So what I'm just saying is, his take on it was, there's such a correlation between mood and food, and if we're not careful, mood wins. And what you're saying is, Lisa, is don't allow the mood to win the battle. We need to make it very clear to the mood that there's something at home waiting for us, and it's only 20 minutes down the road or whatever it's going to be, and that will be far better for us. That way, the mood doesn't win, and the food does. And I think that was the biggest thing that came out of that room, was for me thinking, how many times have we, even with your children, you're just running in to go and buy some milk, and they're with you, and they're just at the counter to buy the milk, and they say, can I have this? And you're just like, oh, just, and off you run, and they're sitting in the back of the car eating a bar of chocolate they didn't need. So it's a little bit like we have to change the habits and not be a consumer-led, which is what they're doing to us. They're messing with our minds and going, kids need this, the kids need that. Just let them have it, just pay for it, and we're out. We've got to get to Santo by whatever time, so you're off. And I think that was the key for me that I picked up from all of this. Mood and food is, don't let the mood win. We've got to make food win, and food is the choice. Back to you, my dear.
Gosh, Paulette, you said so many things I wanted to touch on that I had to make a list. And you were saying something?
There's nothing wrong with leftovers. I don't just eat leftovers. I cook for a week at a time, and I don't just I eat everyone's leftovers as well. Everyone's. I don't like food going in the bins. I will literally eat my wife's leftovers, my son's leftovers. I let the dogs have some sometimes, but literally I will eat leftovers for days. It tastes beautiful. It tastes better than the first day it was cooked. I'm just saying. Oh, Lisa.
Yeah, and Gosh, yes, so many things. So let me touch on the leftovers since you brought it up. So everyone is different. Some people can survive on leftovers. I always remember a friend of mine while I was at university, and we were talking about how to advise clients about how to cook and batch cooking and stuff like that. And she said she grew up with her mom cooking every day. So the concept of eating food a day old was very foreign to her, and she couldn't do it because she grew up with that habit. So she also cooks every day. Now, if you're a person like that, then it means you're cooking smaller batches because it's only for that day, which is fine. Whatever works for you, it's fine. The issue is if you're drowning in menopausal symptoms, and for those of you who are new to the call, there are over 100 symptoms that a menopausal woman can experience along her journey. If you feel like you're drowning in 60, 70 symptoms at one time, and that does happen, do you have the capacity to cook every day at that point? The answer may be no. So you have to find strategies that work for you. And this is where working with a good coach comes in. A strategy that will work for you where it wouldn't feel like you're eating leftovers, but you'll get the nutrients that you need to support you while you're going through menopause. So if you're able to cook every day, great. Again, focus on your plant-based foods. Cook the amounts that you need for you, for your family. If there are things that can be batch cooked and frozen, so some things when you thaw it out, it changes the texture and the taste. Some things don't. Some things, if you cook it, like Annie said, it tastes better the next day. So for example, soups, chilies, it tastes better the next day. You may be able to cook a chili and eat it the next day and then have it finished the next day. If that can work for you, fine. But you have to find ways where on the days that you feel really good, you maximize those days and you maximize on how much prep you can do and what can be stored in the fridge easily. And the days that you don't feel as great, then you just ask yourself, okay, so what's one thing I could eat today that will support me and make me feel a little better? And it's okay to eat those unhealthy foods. When I talk to my clients, the first things that I have to sort of break them out of is saying foods are good or bad. Food doesn't have emotion. We put that emotion on food. And then when we call foods bad and we gravitate towards those foods when we're emotional, as Paulette was talking about hunger versus emotional. When we're emotional, we don't feel for traditionally healthy foods. We wouldn't feel for a salad. We will feel for foods that bring us comfort, usually from our childhood. So it's okay to have those foods in the moments. We could honor those feelings and have the food. But if you find yourself always going for that food every day, every week, then food is not the answer. You need to dig deeper to find out, okay, what is triggering it? Why am I feeling this way? And what are other coping mechanisms we can use? Because the foods we're eating wouldn't support us for weeks or months on end. It's going to make things worse. You're going to gain that weight. It's going to interfere with your gut bacteria, which means you're going to continuously feel the anxiety, the panic attacks, the depression. It's better you find other coping mechanisms to deal with that stress, to deal with those feelings. But I don't want people listening, whether it's live or replay, to think, okay, if I eat a pack of Doritos or if I eat a slice of cake, I'm a bad person because I'm eating bad food. Food doesn't have emotion. It really doesn't care. It's there to provide nutrients and comfort, and we must enjoy our foods as well. No one is saying, and definitely this platform is not saying, to just eat vegetables or just eat salads. It's the times you eat it, it's the amount you eat, because there's a saying, the dose makes the poison. The amount you eat and the consistency of what you're eating, right? And I saw a comment from Roy. He's having issues because of the storms. This is on replay. For those of you all don't know, LinkedIn Lives are on replay, so you can always catch it after. So no need to apologize, as Kenny said. But there's a big difference between hunger and emotion. If you're hungry, then anything will satisfy that hunger. If you're emotional, you usually find that you feel for a very particular thing, and only one or two things will make you feel better. So I remember I came home very stressed. I was trapped in traffic. The sun was hot. And the emotions got to me. The menopause had came out. And I was just feeling for fried chicken. Nothing else would work except fried chicken. And I had to talk to myself and say, Lisa, okay, why are you feeling for the fried chicken? I'm not hungry at that point. It's the emotions getting the better of me. And I'm just feeling for particular food, okay? If I eat a piece of fried chicken, will I feel better? Not really, because the trigger for that stress is still there. I dealt with somebody and they gave me bad news or whatever. That information is still there. So I could eat a bucket of fried chicken. I may feel good in the moment, but it's not fixing the underlying problem. So when I work with clients, one is to not have them feel shame around food, and to not call food good or bad, or even healthy or unhealthy. We talk about foods that support us on our journey, and certainly all the snack foods that you enjoy can be part of a healthy, balanced diet. It's how you eat it, how much of it you eat it, the time you eat it, what you're pairing it with. There's a lot that goes into eating healthy. And for those of you who missed the beginning, I am having a free workshop, a free webinar this Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern. It's geared for women in menopause. So sorry, guys, I'll have another webinar just for you. But for anyone who's struggling with how to eat when I'm feeling upset, when I'm feeling anxious, when I feel like the symptoms are just drowning me, I'm going to put the link in the comments. Please attend that session so that we could have that conversation. But just know that it's okay to have a snack, even if it's late at night, if that is what will support you in that moment. But if you're constantly just feeling for those things and you're constantly sad or depressed, then we need to get to the underlying cause so that you could come out of it and not let that mood win, as Paulette was saying earlier. Gosh, I'm seeing a lot of comments coming in, Annie.
You're not letting me show you're talking, so I can't just jump in.
Yes, I know. Well, I'm taking a break.
Let's do some of them now whilst we're here. Now we're
sure.
Here. Right? Where do I want to start? So let's start here. Not that I know what Noni's talking about, but no, I'll take it. Now, Rob says I was wrong. I'm new to this talk. Well, welcome, Rob. Lives are the best things on social media, I assure you.
Yeah.
Get to see Dr. Lisa share her wisdom with us. Of course, our guests, our amazing guest speakers as well. So, and the guest speakers are from the audience. So you're welcome to come and share with us, Rob. If you want to join the stage, the link is in the comments section on the events page. So, like I always say, if you want the link straight to your DM, put in the chat here. Link, please. And I'll send you the link. If we're not connected, then I will send us a connection request. To Jackie, legend Jackie. I'm so glad you're here. So Jackie has an amazing show. She has many amazing shows.
Yeah, she has quite a few.
Yeah. Was that one? I think we were there last night, right? Well, was it last night or before?
Oh, Monday. Oh gosh, I can't remember.
Yeah.
The days are melding into one.
Today's Tuesday, Lisa. So yesterday was Monday. Yeah, yeah. I think
yes.
I think, Yeah, she keeps saying she wants me to come on her show. I'm like, I'm too stupid. I'm not that clever.
Oh, good gosh. Next comment.
Jackie, I want to come on your show. If I'm myself, then you'd be like, never come back. But I'll get over it. Platine, welcome. Glad you're here, Nick. It was great to see you. Thank you for joining us, Nick. Kenny. Kenny.
Oh my gosh.
Really, Kenny? Right, I know where this comes from. And I said last Friday's Sing Your Heart Out. All Kenny kept saying was, not today. I'm like, Kenny, just sing, will you? No, don't sing, Kenny. Kenny was like, not today. Yeah, and so now he's got the song list apparently for this Friday show. You want to
Okay.
hear Kenny sing? You want to, you know, he sings beautifully. God
Mhm.
help. And that. So, no, Kenny, it does poetry much better, right? Cyrus, welcome. Glad you're here. Hello,
Hey,
Doctor.
Cyrus.
Hey, Cyrus. So he's catching,
Yes.
Lisa. He's catching. You know, eventually he'll catch up.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay.
So, Kenny, you must. Kenny, you got to be careful what you say in this room, right? You know, there's two rooms I do that I have to be very careful what I say sometimes. One of, you know, this one and Christiana's miscarriage and baby loss. Now, Kenny, saying such words, menopause forever. You
Well,
get a
it can feel like it's forever. It
you
can,
get a
and
response.
that's why I'm here to help.
You get a response from Nick that says, "That's crazy." No, Kenny, it doesn't. You called for that.
No, it does not stop after. No, when let me just clear this up. So once you're having your period, that is called perimenopause, and you can get pregnant while you're experiencing menopausal symptoms. Once you're having your period every month, or even if you're not having a period every month, once you're still having your period, you can still get pregnant. So please be aware of that. But once your period stops for 12 months, the day after the 12 months, you're in menopause for 1 day. And the next day after that, until you die, you're in postmenopause. So that's why I said at the beginning, you can be in your 60s, 70s, and even in your 80s and still experiencing menopausal symptoms. And especially if you've had a partial or full hysterectomy, remember you shoved your body into menopause. It didn't go through the natural transition. So you can have menopausal symptoms in your 70s and even in your 80s. Yeah, so yeah, fun times for women, right?
Well, fun time for men too, right? You know, I'll get there in
Yeah,
a second.
because
I'll get there in a second.
they have to still love us while we're in menopause.
Exactly. You know, I see you coming, Felipe. I'm coming to that next.
Mhm.
You know, is chickpeas a good thing to eat? That's what chickpeas.
All plant foods. So yep,
So chickpeas
peas
is
and beans,
okay.
lentils, chickpeas, all your peas and beans are
Okay.
great.
Awesome. Right. So I'm probably going to pause here. Felipe says, Dr. Lisa, what can men do to support the women in their lives when they are approaching or in menopause?
So one, just offering a listening ear without trying to solve the problem. Just sitting and listening, and then you ask the question, what do you need me to do? How can I support you? Most people think menopause, it's just about hot flashes and those mood swings, and that's it. There are over 100 symptoms. Most of those symptoms are mental and emotional, but we have things like joint pain, muscular pain, earaches, the brain fog. So forgetting everything that you normally remember, digestive issues. I mean, there's so many things, and then your risk for disease. So risk for diabetes goes up, risk for heart disease goes up, kidney disease, cancers. Your body's at risk because it's weakened, right? So imagine going through all of those things and having to still take care of the family, care of maybe aging parents, still having to go to work, and then having to support your partner. So the first place is always communication. If you notice your partner is experiencing symptoms and she's not aware that she's in menopause, say, listen, I think something is wrong. Let's go to the doctor together. Don't make it that's your issue. That's a woman's issue. You go see about it. I'll be here when you come back, right? Go with her to the doctor. Hold her hand while she's getting the blood test. If she's not getting the answer she needs to the doctor, you can always go for a second opinion, or you could always talk to someone like me. Let's have a free, I give a free menopause makeover consultation where we just talk about, okay, how can we support the woman right now? Listening to her, asking her what she needs, and then trying to support with the little things. Maybe do some laundry. Maybe take care of the kids, the homework while if she just walks through the door and she's had a stressful day, say, okay, listen, go lie down. I'll take care of the household for the while. But ask her what she needs, because maybe she's fine with taking care of the kids and she needs you to cook, right? So asking her what she needs and then just listening to her without trying to solve the problem, because you don't know. You don't know what she's going through. You will never understand unless you're, sorry for the men in the room, you can go through male menopause. So some men actually do understand, I guess. But just understanding what she's going through. Paul, as I saw you shaking your head. You want to add anything? Oh gosh, I'm sorry if you're coughing and I'm making you speak.
I'll speak otherwise. If you're really choking to death.
I was choking to death, but no, I was laughing because I was saying men will never know how you feel. And I think that for a man, if they can remember, this is no no disrespect in any way meant, but if you can remember a time when perhaps you had a knee replacement or you were playing football and you were kicked so badly and then you were out of the game for, I don't know, season or something like that, something that suddenly hits you and it debilitates you to the point where everything changes in an instant. That is as near as you can get to what Lisa's talking about. And you cannot expect a man to understand, I get that, but what you can do is understand the emotional turmoil that is caused by something that happened to you, so you can relate to it. And that's the thing that's so important, is if you remember how it made you feel, or you remember how debilitated and how incapable you were of, you know, whatever, the drugs you were on, whatever, all those things that made you a bit foggy or unable to think straight, these are the things that Lisa's trying to say to you as a man. You know, this is not saying this is a woman's problem, this is a man's problem, it's a couple's problem. And the better you come together as a couple, and that's what Lisa's trying to explain. And I'm just saying that if you can relate it to a time when you've had an injury, you've had a problem, and how it made you feel, that will make Lisa's job easier. Does that make sense, Lisa?
Or
Yeah.
even when they had a very bad cold, a very bad flu, how crap you feel, and you have a head cold, you can't think straight. Lying down feels uncomfortable, sitting down feels uncomfortable, right? Yeah, take that and multiply it by 1,000. And yeah, that's how some women feel.
I think, building on what you're both saying, look, Felipe, the answer that I learned from my foster dad, you have to be your best self. That's what Paulette just said. It's a couple's thing. If you want, I want peace and quiet. That means I have to be my best self, extra nice, helpful. Yes, darling, you're right. Yeah, that's always the answer. The answer will get you everywhere, get you peace and quiet, and buy you happiness sometimes. You're gonna help out as well.
Yeah.
No, my wife was telling me the other day, who just thought you were doing washing up? I said, now I kind of, and I think it's about arranging our lives in a way that suits everyone. I say my obsession with washing up, it's not really a new obsession, but I kept it hidden for years. I didn't do washing up. And I said, who does that now? I want the kitchen clean, because we spent years of the kids just coming in the kitchen, dumping plates. You wake up in the morning, kitchen is a mess. It's a war zone. I'm like, and then the wife will wake up, look at it and go, the kitchen is a mess. And then she has to clean it all up. So now I make sure it's all clean before she, every night, every day the kitchen is clean. That's one less thing to moan about. Only one less. I cook my own food too, by the way, as well, Felipe. So
yeah.
all those
I would
things.
say always, I was just going to say always come from a place of love and understanding. I think that's a great way to start. But on the flip side, for the woman to also understand that men aren't mind readers. They cannot figure out what's going on with you. If you look upset or you come next to them and sigh, or they're in the middle of doing something or watching a football game or something they enjoy and you're feeling like crap and you're upset that they don't know that you're feeling like crap, they're not mind readers. So if there's a problem you want them to be aware of, communication is always the key. Pick a time that you're both comfortable talking. So not as soon as he walks through the door either, right? Because he's not in a place to receive the message the way you want him to receive it. Let me put it that way. When you're both calm and you're able to send the message what you want him to hear and make sure that he hears what you want him to hear. But always talk about what you're experiencing, because he will notice the changes and think, okay, maybe something wrong with me, or you don't love him anymore, right? So he's going to have his own ideas on what's going on. And if you don't communicate, then you're left to think where you want that mind to go and what you want to think, right? So the solution, I think, for most problems is communication and coming from a place of love.
I agree 100%. So, you know, when I say be your best self, that's what be genuinely that person who wants the best for the family, really, or for your household at least. That's what the best way to put it. So don't do a Kenya. Don't do a Kenya, right?
I have a question.
I'm going to come to you right now. So try after these comments. I'll come to you, Michelle.
Okay.
Kenya is the evil part of Kenny. Now he's the one who attacks people, apparently. Anyway, I'll leave that alone, Kenny. Michelle, I'll let you speak, please. No, so we'll come back to the comments after you and Michael. Let me give you the mic.
I apologize, but I have to ask. Okay,
No,
Lisa,
don't apologize.
but this girl is amazingly single. So how would you tell my kids? Okay, I'm single and I love it. And so I don't have a man, but I do have kids. How do you, they're older. My kids are older, don't. But how do you, my boys are just like, man, I don't know what's wrong with you, Mom, but it's like, I feel like fine. But then that also makes, because I've never had symptoms for menopause. And then, you know, when your kids are like, you're acting really cranky, especially my daughter is like, dang, do I even want to try dating and have anybody for this train wreck? I mean, like, my kids can't. How do you do that? You know, my own daughter's she's just like, I don't want to be like that one. You're 50, you're old. Something's wrong with you.
The answer is the same. The answer is the same, communication. So even if your kids are young, they will pick up when something is different.
And that's what she is picking up now is the boys don't live here, of course. Lizzie still does because, she's just 20. And we're getting her into college right now. Actually, Paulette's helping do that. The thing is like all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, all this time when the doctor was doing all the blood tests and everything, it shows I wasn't. But my daughter's just like, you realize whenever you walk in the room, do you notice how I leave, Mom? It's like, oh, okay. So, I mean, can she, all right, for AA, they have Milan for your significant other to go to learn about. Do we have anything like that too, where even kids can go learn why their parents are acting like me? Honestly, it's hard to explain. But if my daughter did want to, could she take a class with you?
So I don't just counsel women going through menopause, I counsel the family. So I sit everybody down over a Zoom call, and everyone gets to understand what menopause is. What are some of these symptoms? They get to ask whatever questions they want to ask. It's a very safe and supportive space. You could ask me anything, right? Even if it makes your parents uncomfortable, I will answer. Of course, depending on the age, the information you share will be different, or it may be different. But even with your boys, remember they will grow up and have wives.
Oh, they have wives now.
Right.
And
So
the
they
one,
will,
yeah. And the
yeah.
one even has 2 children. It's just they've not experienced it before, and neither have their wives. And my boys, I've always kept them close, and now they're all like, where'd the fire breathing dragon come from? I'm like,
Yeah. The answer is always communication. So an easy example is most people understand pregnancy. They
yes,
understand what a woman goes through, how she feels, the cravings, the pains, the body aches, the migraines that could come with it. Menopause is a similar process. It's all of these things are hormonal. So it's similar to that, multiplied by 1,000, right? So
yeah,
a good place to start, if you don't have someone like me to talk to, is okay, ask them, okay, have a conversation, sit them down. Okay, so when a woman goes through her 9 months pregnancy, do you understand, okay, what she's experiencing, what she's feeling, and especially if they have kids, they understand what their wives would have gone through.
yes,
So, okay, menopause is the same thing, except that when you're into menopause, once you stopped having your period, you can't have children. But other than that, it's another hormonal process. But the symptoms can be a lot worse and combined. So any woman that says she's gone through menopause and didn't have symptoms, I'm saying you probably didn't experience debilitating symptoms, or you probably didn't realize that the bruises you had on your arm was menopause related, or the toothache that you had, or the earache, or the blurry vision, or if you always had constipation or diarrhea, those things were actually menopausal, right? The headaches, and like I said, over 100, right? It's about 130. So you
yes.
were just fortunate not to go through the debilitating symptoms, fortunate not to have the hot flashes or the night sweats or maybe the headaches and things that can really shut a woman down. But you did experience symptoms. You were just lucky. The problem is your menopausal journey can be quite different to your daughter's. But again, it's to sit them down and say, listen, women start menopause in their 30s. So we need to start from now to change the way we eat foods, the way we exercise, getting into those stress relieving techniques. We need to start building those healthy lifestyle changes so that it can help us when we get into menopause. I'm definitely not saying if you eat right and you exercise every day and you're positive every day that you wouldn't have any menopausal symptoms or you wouldn't get really bad hot flashes. Because I know some women eat right and do everything right and have the worst symptoms. But it does set you up for lowered risk of disease, lowered risk of the symptoms you can experience. But whether it's menopause or whether it's any sort of health condition, the people closest around you are who are going to support you. So they need to understand what you're going through, what medications you need to take, the side effect of those medications. If you don't understand that, then you need to educate yourself. Talk to your doctor. Don't just take the prescription and leave. Ask them, okay, what's this medication? What are the side effects? How long do I have to stay on this medication for? Are there any foods that can help me while I'm on this? Okay, you don't know, is there a dietitian in the hospital or the clinic or in private practice that you work with that you could refer me to so I can get additional support? Right? So educate yourself, educate the people around you, and then make sure that you're getting that support and communication. Always goes back to good communication.
And that makes sense. And that's why I'm going to make an appointment with you. And I ask everyone if she's doing the whole family, talking to the whole family. Why aren't we doing this? And booking with Lisa, since she's going to, I'm booking. You
Yeah,
convinced me.
most people don't because they just try to fix the immediate problem. But we don't live in a bubble,
We don't.
right? So whoever's closest to you, whoever's sharing the household with you, should be part of the conversation. Because when you need support, when you feel like you can't get out of bed and you can't make a healthy meal for yourself, you want the person who's closest to you to understand and maybe even volunteer and say, listen, don't worry, you stay in bed. I'm going to take care of the house today. What are you feeling to eat? What are you feeling to drink? Is your room too hot? Is your room too cold? What do you need? What do you need right now? Right? And always come from a place of love.
Exactly. And yeah. And so I'm going to book this for me and my daughter because that poor girl lives with me.
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't know I was being the B word or anything. I mean, I was coming in with my phone. And actually, that's why I was late to hear you guys, is because she walked in and she's like, you understand why when you walk out here with your phone, I automatically leave, right? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
You're being mean. Oh. Well,
Yeah.
guess what's on right now? Menopause. Let me go talk to her.
Yeah. But it's good that she was brave enough and felt comfortable enough to say something, because most family members just take okay, you do you. We're just gonna stay in the background and suffer silently. Unfortunately, this is why the divorce rate is high during menopause as well.
And I could understand that
Yeah,
now.
because we don't have the conversations.
Yeah, and that's why I came in here and I was like, no, Annie, I get to ask her a question.
Yeah, that's okay.
I
That's
know
okay.
Michael was up on the stage and everything, but you know what? He's a guy. He's not having menopause right now. It's about Michelle.
That's okay. Michelle gets to have her moment, unless
Yes.
they're backstage.
Well, I mean, because honestly, when you don't have a spouse or anything like that, no one tells you because you're not with a spouse. You're not with anyone else in the house. I talk to Paulette every day, but at no point does she see me walking around with my cell phone growling, I guess. And so when she told me that, I was like, all right, I need to fix that. But see, now I've always thought I was fine.
Yeah.
There is one thing I would say, just as an interrupt for a second, and that is that the same kind of emotional turmoil we go through with the menstrual cycle, right? People say you can become an absolute monster in that week or the week before. Yeah. I always think that this is very relevant to what Lisa's trying to explain now. So that's something you can say to your daughter is that, look, you go through that once a month, right? Now multiply it by whatever. It's what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Exactly the same because it's all
Exactly the
hormone
same.
based, right,
Exactly.
Lisa?
Yeah, exactly the same. It's
And
the same hormonal process. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, you guys. Here is pretty much taboo to go through menopause. And so I was like, oh, cool. Totally aced that one. Didn't get it. Maybe it's because of autism or something. I don't know. Maybe it's because of my rare blood. And then it was like, no. Hold on. We still got you, lady. Come here. Hold on. Your hormones are still here. Because I mean, I eat right. I do everything. I just had my colon cancer checked. Totally. I mean, I'm cancer free. And then, when you do hear from your child, like, yeah, you're growling when you're walking around. So that's why every time you walk into a room, I leave. It's like, oh, well, let's find out why. And
let's have a conversation about it. Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm done. Thank you, Annie.
Michelle, secret.
Let me just-
Let me tell you all the secret. Most women think they're fine. We know they're not. That's why I'm here. I said,
Yeah, well, yeah.
we're fine. Men are like, you turned into a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, when you don't have a significant other or a husband or a boyfriend that lives with you, who's going to tell you? Honestly, if my daughter didn't live with me, if I would have gone out, someone would probably like hurt me or something. She's a bitch. You know, like how embarrassing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah.
Everyone, at least there's at least the support.
Yes.
Will make a difference. I'm sure you know. I'm sure you can tell us about the difference that it makes for sure. So let's go back to our comments. We need to get through the comments, otherwise we'll be here all day, Michelle. And I will come back to you in good time. Yeah, we love Michael and Petra, so that's a sister. So let's talk with what we do have. So Jay says studies show eating vegetables first, and then meat, and then carbs. So it's the order of foods that you eat is what Jay's saying. Does that make a difference?
So these studies are still mixed on it, but we know for sure, one, having vegetables in the meal, so it may not be the order, because everything still ends up in your stomach together. But having more fiber in the meal lowers the blood glucose, right? So again, this is why going back to your plant-based foods, having more veggies in the meal, making sure you have some sort of peas or beans in the meal is increasing your fiber, both your soluble and insoluble fiber. So that is what is lowering the blood glucose. A good thing to do as well, especially for diabetics, is having a bit of vinegar in water before your meal. So, and people may have heard of it. Most people use apple cider vinegar. I usually recommend the apple cider vinegar for this, and keeping like the balsamic and your rice vinegar for your salad. But having about a tablespoon in a cup of water, and a cup is 8 ounces or 250 milliliters, having that about 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes before your meal, has also shown to lower the impact of the blood glucose.
What's that again?
A tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, or any vinegar will work, but I just recommend apple cider because most people have that. Apple cider vinegar in about a cup of water. And you have that about at least 15 minutes before your meal.
And that
so before breakfast, lunch, dinner, drink the water.
Yeah, and that will stop me growing.
No. It will stop the rush of blood sugar that enters your bloodstream. What sugars you don't use get stored as fat. So the reason why people gain less weight or put on less weight, so the vinegar doesn't burn fat or anything like that. It helps you control your blood sugars so that you the blood sugar hits your system slower. You end up using more of it and you store less of it. So when you compare people who take the vinegar before, put vinegars in your salad dressing and eat vegetables in your meal, doesn't have to be first, but it has to be in the meal. When I compare the blood sugars of those people to people who don't do those things, they actually control your blood sugars more, so it's great for diabetics, and the amount of weight you store is less.
Is there anything that can get rid of the sugar, the carbs that you don't use? Can we stop it turning into fat? That's what I'm trying to get you to say yes, there is any. There's a solution.
Having controlled carbs in the meal, so not fill. So again, that's why I said fill your plate with vegetables first, and having a bit of carbs, a bit of peas or beans and stuff like that, and then a piece of meat, if that's what you want to eat, if you choose to eat meat. Having that consistently, as well as the lifestyle changes, moving every day, lowering your stress, even changing where you live. Sometimes if you live in a very with a lot of smog, a lot of environmental toxins and stuff, all of those things affect weight. Most of us can't move from where we are, right? But we could certainly move more, walk more, dance more, do gardening, anything like that. It doesn't have to be going to the gym. In fact, I hate the gym. My thing is martial arts, dance, whatever you like to do, you move more, lower your stress. Doesn't happen overnight. And I'm saying these things understanding it's challenging, but it's about building the habits and then having the vinegar before and having vegetables in the meal. Paulette, you wanted to add something? I saw you raise your hand.
I was swatting a fly, but what I will say is the something that I've been given is chair yoga, and I was like, oh come on, chair yoga, but and we've been intending to do it since January, but obviously everyone knows I've been poorly, and we were going to start last week, and then of course I got ill again, so next week chair yoga begins, and it's going to be me and Charles doing chair yoga, and I will keep you posted. I think it's going to be most amusing because I've looked at some of the things they want me to do, and I think I'll end up on the floor, but we're going to give it a shot. And I think that that's about the best thing you can ever do, is being open-minded to try these things. If you're closed-minded, you'll never do anything. You'll always accept whatever. This is all I've got. This is all I'll ever be. This is all I can ever do. If you're closed-minded, that's where you stay. If you open your mind, there's opportunities. Even for someone with disabilities, there is chair yoga. Who'd have thought it, right? And we're not going to go and do it with a load of old grannies. We're going to do it at home on our own, with chairs. That's all we need. Chairs. I'll probably put some music on, and then we'll look at this sheet and we'll work our way through it. And hopefully I'll still be on the chair at the end of it, and I will keep you posted in a couple of weeks' time. But that's the plan.
I can't wait to see what chair yoga looks like. I
my
can
God.
imagine you upside down, Paulette, on your chair. I really can. You hold yourself up. You can do it, Paulette. You can do it.
And listen, you don't have to do all the exercises if you're not ready for it. Start where you are comfortable, even if it's for 5 minutes. You can't make 5 minutes, go for 2 minutes. Chair yoga is a great thing for people, especially when you have mobility issues or balance issues. Again, University of YouTube. Just search chair yoga. God, I had a brain fog moment there. Just search chair yoga or balance exercises. That's another thing that people can do, especially when you have injuries. Holding on to the chair and just lifting your leg, lifting your arm. Again, use the video and follow along so that you do it correctly. If you can't make the whole video, how much can I do? Do it consistently, because consistency is the key. Do a little bit every day. Aim for 5 minutes a day. For the first week, okay, I'm going to go for 10 minutes. I can't make 10 minutes. My body's hurting. Okay, drop it back to 7 minutes. Do 7 minutes for the week, and then you build on it. The consistency is what helps us with everything, not just menopausal symptoms, but almost all health issues. Movement. So you'll never hear me say exercise. Physical activity, or just move your body. Move your body, move your body.
Awesome. So I'm liking Nick's food. I mean, Nick, you make me hungry.
Yeah, that is a Caribbean soup. I would just say also, if you can add more veggies to this, just be mindful though that the dumplings is most of the time made from white flour. If you can make it with whole grain flour, great. But make sure that the amount of carbs in your meal is not more than you need. So the sweet potato has carbs, the dumpling will have carbs, even the peas, the split peas has carbs. If it's too much for that point in time, for that meal, what you don't use up, you store as fat. And if you have weight management issues or blood sugar issues, diabetes, things like that, this may be too much sugars, too much carbs for that particular meal.
Is it dumplings? Right, it's a dumplings.
If I had to pull out one thing, I would pull out the dumplings.
I agree.
Or have a smaller bowl and fill it with more veggies, and then go for a walk after.
Yeah, no dumplings. Dumplings are bad. They're evil.
No. Food is not good or evil. No, there's no emotion attached to food.
Dumplings are evil. And one day, Lisa.
No. Then you're having the wrong dumplings.
Yeah, no, what? There's something I saw when I was a kid at school. It's haunted me ever since with dumplings. ever since.
Well, okay, that's right.
I've never touched one. I can't even have the thought to say that. Anyway.
You know, I'm going to beat you, Annie. How about if you use zucchini flour? Then your dumplings are okay. Because there is a thing called zucchini flour, and I make it. And
It's
you
a
have all
wonder
the
dumpling,
dumplings.
and it's a
Yeah.
concept. Do you really want to know?
What?
No, we don't.
No, I'm just saying you
Sounds
can.
very good.
No, not you,
let's go to this.
Michelle. Annie's story. We don't want to know Annie's story. We don't
No,
want someone to be traumatized this evening.
I use flour, but it's zucchini flour. I have zucchini flour and I make it myself. And then we actually burn the flour. We cook the flour before we even use it. So, yes, white flour is bad for you for dumplings, but zucchini flour, which you can make very easily, is very good for your dumplings.
Right. So I will stop you there. So the zucchini flour is fine. We need to get out of the habit of saying foods are bad for us. Remember, we are not all in the same country. We don't have access to the same things. So you're talking zucchini flour. I know if somebody makes zucchini flour in the Caribbean, it will cost £1 and a crown. So I can't, so even things like coconut flour, almond flour, chickpea flour, we have them here. It costs $1 million. So I cannot tell someone, because that soup that she described is a Caribbean soup, right? It's a normal soup we make on a Saturday. I can't tell clients, because remember, where I speak is different from, you're speaking from your personal experience, which is fine. And the zucchini flour sounds great, right? But we can't say white flour is bad, because suppose that's all I can afford. And I have 5 mouths to feed. We don't want people to feel guilty for, okay, am I a bad mother now? What we should say is, okay, if all I have is white flour, for whatever reason, how can I improve that flour? How can I add more fiber to the flour so that it doesn't cause me to gain weight or interfere with my blood sugars? And there's a way. If I grate veggies in it, sorry?
I couldn't afford flour, and so I had to grow vegetables, and then I Googled on how to make, because I was getting so many zucchinis. And you can make, seriously, I couldn't afford
I think that is a wonderful idea.
So I grew it.
Again, if I live in, okay, so where I live in an apartment building. There's no place for me to grow anything. And where the sun is, I can't even put a pot to grow something, because the sun is not any place where I can put a pot. So for me, I have to buy my food. I can't grow anything. So again, we have to meet people where they are. So if you have place to grow food and you're able to and you can afford it, always the best idea. And again, University of YouTube, you will find any recipe to make zucchini patties or flour. I'm sure somebody has a recipe for it. If all you can afford is white flour or white rice, that's okay. You start where you are. You can add things like veggies to it. So I don't have to make, let's say I'm making bread. I don't have to make plain white bread. I can grate carrots. I can grate the same zucchini in it. I can grate pumpkin. I can add chia seeds. I can add ground flax seeds to it. And that increases the fiber and that makes it healthier. And again, the dose makes the poison. So if I sit and I eat the whole bread, which can happen because fresh bread tastes great, right? But if I eat the whole bread in one sitting, then yes, that is a problem, because now I cannot use up all the sugars in that bread. I will store it as fat, or I can interfere with my blood sugar and give myself a higher risk of diabetes. But if I can take that same white bread and have a slice and pair it with some roasted veggies, or even if I have plain white bread, I didn't make it, I bought it in the grocery. That's okay. What can you pair with that bread to increase the fiber? So I can have a couple slices of white bread and pair it with some roasted vegetables.
No, and I understand. Yeah.
No, I was not talking about just because what you say is what clients tell me all the time. And they feel a lot of shame for, my God, okay, this person is, that's why I don't listen to a lot of people on this platform, because they come from a place of privilege, and a lot of times white privilege. or I only eat organic and I only buy this, right? And you don't know what the person is going through. And if you're giving information, if you're talking from your personal experience, it's fine. So you, Michelle's talking about your zucchini flower, that's fine. You're not saying this is what we should all do. You're talking about your experience. My problem is the person who comes on a platform like this and says, okay, we should all eat organic because that's the only thing to do. That's the best thing. That's the healthiest thing.
Okay.
If I can't afford organic, and I can't, right? I can't.
Yeah.
Many people can't, or they don't have access. I have clients who live in a rural area, and the only time they get to a proper supermarket is once a month when they come to the clinic for their heart medication. I can't begin to have a conversation about organic foods because they just don't have the access to it, even if they could afford it.
No, and I understand that. When I got on, okay, this is how it works here. When I was on assistance, you get food stamps. So when you get off assistance, you don't get to shop for food. That's the last thing to think about. They want to make sure you pay your rent. So
Exactly.
I had to pay rent. And since we lived on property, I had to grow our food or my kids weren't going to eat.
And you were blessed to have that opportunity.
And I am blessed to have that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I didn't know how to do it. I mean, I always knew how to farm, but I did have to learn how to make flour because my kids got tired of just eating vegetables.
Yeah.
And they're like, can we have some pancakes or something? And I was like, I can't go afford flour right now because it was like $5 or something, but you still got to buy milk. And then you got to buy the eggs. So altogether, it comes to $50. I didn't have that, because I didn't have food stamps anymore. I was finally out on my own. I was making my own, because I was only on it for 6 months.
Yeah.
That was the whole, I mean, it was really hard. So I understand where people can't eat because
I think it's a conversation we need to have, and another conversation we need to have about it.
Just going on from that, Lisa. Yeah, I was just about to say to you yesterday, the chap that came on, this Damien Parsons, one of the things he was talking about was about eating as close to the ground, right? So in other words, and I'd never heard that before. I've never heard that expression, but it was basically the closer to the ground, the better. So in other words, if you can grow it yourself, then that's the best way, instead of having a hanging basket of flowers, have a hanging basket of tomatoes. Instead of having a couple of pot plants outside, make them peppers. Whatever you can do, whether it's a balcony, whether it's a, whatever. He was just trying to say, if you've got a bit of garden, great. If you haven't, then you can do it in tubs, on your balcony, or you can do, outside your hanging basket with tomato plant in it. He was basically saying that, I like the expression, I thought you would, the closer to the ground, the better. And I thought that was...
Sorry, it's okay. No, I was just going to say that it ties into a comment that Jay has that and he has on his screen. So yes, the best choice will always be to eat as natural as possible. So if you can grow your own food, great. If you don't know how, University or YouTube. Or I would also check local communities because they usually have programs that teach farmers or teach farming. So explore what's available or in your community, in your county, in your state. A lot of times it's free information that you get. Sometimes you even get free seedlings or free information on how, the hanging pots, they tell you how to do it. Right? And yes, especially when you have health conditions, food becomes even more important. But going back to the processed food, I don't want people to get the misunderstanding that processed is bad. Remember, we're not using good or bad, healthy or unhealthy. Some foods will support us better. Everything we buy in the supermarket is processed. None of us are going out into the rice fields and picking rice to make it ourselves. So all foods are processed in some way. Even the apples we buy in the supermarket, somebody had to wash them, pick them from the tree. There is some processing involved. So processed food isn't bad. The problem is the ultra processed food if we eat it consistently. So if I eat some frozen chicken nuggets that I get from the supermarket, let's say that's the only thing my child will eat, because again, it goes back to that shame. Some parents, if you don't have the chicken nuggets on the plate, they're not eating anything. What is more important at that point? To force them to eat something that they're not going to put in their mouth, or to put a couple chicken nuggets on the plate and put some baby carrots, and they can eat the two together. For me, as a healthcare professional, as a dietitian, it's important that they get something in their system, right? They eat something. Yes, the chicken nuggets are maybe high in fat, high in salt, but what can I pair it with so that they understand, okay, well, yes, the chicken nuggets right now. So because most children grow out of that phase and will happily introduce other foods if you just be positive about the foods that they eat and not force them to eat anything. So it's okay to eat the ultra processed foods. If I want a pack of Doritos, it's okay. If you see me with a pack of Doritos, you'll say, wow, that's unhealthy, boy. That's high fat, high salt. I'm going to get high blood pressure. What if I'm pairing the pack of Doritos with some hummus or some baked vegetables? Is it still unhealthy? If for the entire day I had, let's say, a salad for lunch, a big salad with all the different colors, I had an egg sandwich for breakfast, and my snack is the Doritos, am I still being unhealthy? We need to get out of the habit of saying food is healthy or unhealthy, good or bad. Because especially going back to the topic, when we don't feel like eating it, is it more important that I eat something or that I focus on, okay, that is going to give me diabetes? What's the more important thing at that point? If the Doritos is going to help me get out of my depression so that next hour I feel a little better and I could go prep a proper meal, then in the grand scheme of things, that's okay. Health is not just about nutrients, it's about your mental and emotional health. And if a slice of cake or a scoop of ice cream is going to help me get through the day, that's okay.
It's nice. I tell you, I tend to eat a bit more than a slice. Anyway, let's deal with that in a second.
Well, the size of the slice may be different for different people, right?
Recollections may vary, Lisa.
Right.
Rob, look, I can see you're struggling. Your connection is struggling. My best advice would be, my friend, watch the replay. There's a replay on Lisa's LinkedIn. If you connect with me, and then I'll send you the link to my YouTube. I like everyone going to YouTube. Go to YouTube, watch all the replays, all our events, and like, subscribe, and comment and all that stuff, right? For sure. Nick, I think we agree now. The media messaging is not helpful at all. So, now, Lisa, here's one of my dilemmas. Talking about processed food and good food or bad food. See, amazingly, I could eat junk food. That's what we call it here, right? Crisps, pizzas, and all that, and I lose weight. But when I eat home cooked food like I eat every day, I don't lose weight. I don't gain weight by eating rubbish. Amazingly, but I still don't. I don't like to eat, so I just don't eat that. So I've got this bind with I grow because I eat healthy food. How can that be?
So that probably comes down to your portion sizes and what feels satisfying to you. So because I know you also love your home cooked food, right? So
rice, pasta, I like that. Right.
Stuff. So if it's high carb, and then you're pairing it with meat, but you're not having enough veggies on the plate, and veggies is where you're going to get not just full, it has a lot of vitamins and minerals which our body needs to function properly. So I would say, and that's why I say start with your plant-based foods, but start with your vegetables first. Half your plate should be vegetables. No matter how big that plate is, half your plate should be vegetables. So if you're concerned about weight management, one thing people can do is make the plate smaller, get a smaller size plate, fill half with vegetables, a mix of raw and cooked. So roast some veggies and then have maybe some raw lettuce and cucumber on the plate. And then whatever your rice dish is, I'm not even concerned so much about how you're making it or what you're adding to it, because I have to start somewhere. If you're not accustomed eating veggies on the plate, I'm going to leave what you're putting in the rice dish for after, until you get accustomed to half your plate with vegetables. Quarter of your plate is whatever starchy foods you're using, whatever carbs, so whatever rice or potatoes or pasta. And then the other quarter is your protein. Start with a pot spoon of, we use pot spoon in the Caribbean. Start with a cup of beans or peas, and then whatever meat you want to add to it. Again, I'm not even concerned about if you eat red meat or not concerned about that yet. Because what I want you to get into the habit of doing is half your plate with veggies. If you eat like that consistently, and then make sure you're drinking enough water, because once you're eating more veggies, that's more fiber. You don't want to get constipated. So you're drinking enough water. Most people, their portion sizes of the carbs and the meat decreases because the veggies fill them up. And if you do like what Jay said, you eat the veggies first, you get fuller faster and you stay fuller for longer. So then I don't have room to fill my plate with the amount of carbs I usually have. And then if as your snack, you want to have a pack of crisps, okay. In the grand scheme of things, my main meals are where I focus my health on. And I have a pack of crisps because I had a stressful day and that's what brings me joy. In the grand scheme of things, that's a balanced diet.
Now, portion size is, look, my plate's full of rice and meat. The vegetable is like, it's like an afterthought.
Like a garnish?
I'm just,
like
yeah,
like a decoration. Yeah, and that's how we eat in the Caribbean as well. That's what we need to change.
No, I hear you.
I love you.
Thank you.
I mean, seriously, thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Dr. CJ, I know you're having a hard time. Glad you're here. Great to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much for joining us. Definitely. Jackie, we hear you. Leftovers are good. It's not leftovers. It's meal. It's today's meal for me. Yeah.
I think if you plan what you're cooking, leftovers could be fine. So
Penny gets it. It's a delectable.
Yeah, especially if you're eating. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's Penny
Soups
language.
taste better the next day. Chili tastes better the next day. The lasagna tastes better the next day. But plan your meals so that you plan having veggies, you plan having beef, that your leftovers are healthy meals as well.
See, you talked about rice once, the carbs that you put in the fridge overnight,
Yeah,
and how it changes the composition.
yeah. So rice, pasta, potatoes, most carbs, breads.
Yeah.
Once you cook them,
yeah.
once you cook them, you cool them down, and then you put them in the fridge or freezer. These sugars change to something called resistant starch. So it lowers the sugars in your meal. So it hits your blood sugars differently. So you raise your blood sugars less and you gain weight less. That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean, right? My sentence structure wasn't correct.
I know what you mean. It works for me.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Yeah, it's always a good idea. So even if you cook a batch of rice and you eat a little bit now, put the rest in the fridge, let it cool down, let it get cold, and then you can reheat it. The resistant starch stays. Sorry.
Yeah, Coach Ashley says barbecue, grilled, steamed versus fried. Which one?
So again, the dose makes the poison. If I eat one piece of fried chicken every month, that's okay, right? That's my treat. Not a cheat meal. Your body does not recognize cheat meal. It doesn't say, okay, this is a cheat meal. I wouldn't store any fat. Yeah, I hear the word cheat meal. If I want a piece of fried chicken to enjoy, and I'm having it once a month, then okay, that's fine. But there are ways to cook your meats healthier. So steaming, grilling, even if you grill and then put a little bit of barbecue sauce after, not drown it in barbecue sauce, because the barbecue sauce is high in sugars. So once you're mindful of what you're doing and reading labels, even fried foods, if you take, let's say, chicken breast, you baste the chicken and you put oil on the skin and you bake it or put it in the air fryer, it has a fried texture without deep frying it. So it's a healthier way of cooking. So there are things you could do to achieve the same sort of taste that you're missing or that you're craving without getting those extra calories or storing more weight.
Why is barbecue not barbecue? I know what I mean. Barbecue style when people do barbecues, like in the garden barbecue. They burn the food, in other words. Why does it never taste of barbecue? It's nothing to do with barbecue sauce. I don't understand why there's no barbecue sauce on it. I really don't. I'm like, why do you lot keep doing this to me? And they're like, shut up in the shower. Whatever. You're wrong. I'm right.
We'll do a show on how to cook meals in a healthier way. That might be the easiest thing.
This is only because Nicole said she agrees with me. I'll take it. But no, she's saying she cooks 4 to 6 times a week because her husband likes to eat freshly cooked food.
Yeah, because he would have grown up with his mom doing that and is not accustomed. And some people can actually feel nauseous or feel digestive issues from eating leftovers. It's because they're not accustomed. So it just means you have to really do a lot of meal planning so that you don't have a lot of leftovers. Or you're eating the leftovers and he's eating the fresh food.
Yeah, no, overeat. Who worries about that? Not me. Anyway, Christy has a good question for you there.
Paulette wanted to add something.
Do you reckon?
Just a very quick one. It was just the comment you were making about the leftovers. We've got so used to Charles and Ben eating the leftovers off my plate that you're in a restaurant and you suddenly feel yourself picking your plate up and and you go, no, put it down again. And then there's a fork comes over and another fork comes over and you're like, oh my gosh, we are that family, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, it's far better it gets eaten and they're happy and whatever. But I just think that's one of the funniest things we suddenly realize we were doing. And you don't realize you're doing it until it's too late.
Yeah.
And now it's just
and your plate is empty.
You know.
And it's better if I eat it all, Paulette. That's the truth, right?
Yeah.
Right, frozen meals or not?
Yeah, so frozen meals are fine, especially fruits and vegetables. I was having a conversation with, I think, Noni, and she was saying that frozen fruits and vegetables are actually cheaper than fresh ones, and they're easier to get. So again, it goes back to that conversation of access, availability, cost. Frozen fruits and veggies especially are picked and flash frozen at the peak of freshness. So they're completely fine. If it's a cooked meal, a pre-cooked meal though, you want to be mindful of the salts and the oils and the sugars they're adding. If there's a label, most of these pre-packaged meals don't have the correct labels. So just be mindful of who you're buying it from. And I know a lot of people are on social media right now and they advertise how they make meals. So maybe check out the website to see how they're making the meals and what they're adding. But in general, frozen foods are fine. It's just being mindful of what it is. If it's like a ultra processed foods like patties or anything breaded, know that they're going to add a lot more salt and a lot more sugar and maybe even oils to preserve it. So if you're having it, have it in small quantities and again, pair it with half plate of veggies.
Yeah, Kenny, I'm on the same page as you. Yeah, don't forget about dessert, Lisa. What about dessert? Good thing?
All foods are part of a healthy diet. The dose makes the poison. If you sit and eat the whole cheesecake in one go, that's a problem. Because you're not going to burn it off, right? Unless you're running a marathon after, right?
When I was a kid in Nigeria, he simply said, I'm sure when I realized some of my relatives here were the same. If you have space for dessert, it means you haven't eaten enough food. Eat the food we give you. No dessert. Yeah, that's the African way. No dessert.
It depends on, remember again, it's when you don't feel like it, or you're feeling you had a hard day, you're drowning in symptoms, and that favorite, maybe it's not even this, maybe it's mashed potatoes instead of baked potatoes, right? Or a particular dessert. If you want to adjust the carbs in your meal, so a good thing to do, or a good hack, let's say you're eating your meal and it's the rice, the meats, the veggies, but you want to have a slice of cake. What you can do is take out the carbs from the meal so that the carbs from the cake sort of replaces it. So you're not going to go overboard on the amount of sugars in that meal, right? But again, it goes back to meal planning. If I know, okay, let's say it's somebody's birthday and they're going to bring cake, I can just have veggies and let's say some beans or a salad with beans in it, and maybe some strips of chicken breast or tofu. That's my main meal, and then I can have my slice of cake because I haven't added many carbs to the main meal. Or if you again, it's choice, right? If you want to have both, just expect you to put on the weight because you're not going to burn it off. It's all about choice.
Burn it off, commit to do the work afterwards to burn it off. That's why. I
If
commit
you're going to do an hour of exercise, of heavy exercise at least, not just a stroll on the treadmill, it has to be heavy exercise to burn it off, which most people they struggle to do.
No, Jackie says Lisa is going to drop in so much knowledge today. Jackie, Lisa can talk for hours about her topic. For hours.
And I realize the time is almost up as well.
She need us here. I watch her do shows, and the hosts are like, "She's still talking? Yeah, she's talking. Like she has much to share." Good on you, Lisa. Keep sharing with them. Keep sharing with them, my friend. So Melissa says her trick is to crush rather than eating chips. She smashes them up into a crumble of powder. And sort of sprinkles on it. It's like sprinkles on it and everything, right?
Yeah, so what you could even up level that. If you make your own, let's say, pita chips or tortilla chips, so you buy whole grain tortillas with lots of fiber in it, or a whole grain pita bread. You cut it up into slices or pieces, and you put it in the oven to bake, or you air fry it. So you're making your own sort of makeshift crouton without using bread. So that's a great thing that she's doing. So you still get the texture, you still get the taste. You don't feel deprived, but you're pairing it with lots of veggies in your salad. Yeah.
With style, in other words. You're eating your chips with style. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Really good convo, ladies. Sorry, got to run to prep for next show. What's your next show? Your show is on tonight, is it?
Her show probably started already. Is Conversations with Nick.
Someone send me a link, please. Someone send a link to my DM after this.
Yeah, well, I know it's going on right now. So, yeah.
It's on right now. Oh, honestly.
Yes, and Jackie's show is about to start as well. So, we need to wrap this up.
We need two of you. For Kenny, I agree. Tasty, fried chicken, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and there's other brands, by the way. That's nice, right? And a bit too expensive these days for me, though. Gabby, for joining us. Release the shame around food.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. Just to go back to Kenny's point, so you can take the same seasonings that you use on your fried chicken and season your veggies the same way. A lot of people think that they have to eat veggies plain and it has to be boring. No, the same way you marinate your meats, you marinate your veggies the same way, right? Up that flavor.
I think Kenny knows you too well, Lisa. Lisa
I love all food. I love all food, even my veggies.
Especially fried chicken as well, apparently.
Yeah. But I've gotten to the points now that because I'm accustomed eating veggies, if I don't have it on my plate, I feel nauseous. Honestly. I have to have the veggies now. But I've gotten into that habit.
Now, welcome, Coach Brenda Lee's. Glad you're here.
Yeah.
One day, someone told me I had to pronounce that series name. Hopefully, I'm close. But thanks for joining us.
Yeah, she's great.
Where's Sean Michael? I was in his room yesterday. Have you ever heard Sean speak?
Yeah, I was in a show earlier today, I think. Yeah.
Isn't the man a genius?
He has a show on Monday and today. Yeah,
see.
more than one show. I always go to it. Yeah.
I'm kind of this man has never spoken to my events. He's come to many of them. He used to come to many of them in the audio events. Never spoken.
Yeah.
But see, he has so much to share. So much
Yeah.
genius. Really, I mean that sincerely. And
Yeah.
I'm shown. I'm not.
Agreed.
I get over myself. It's all right. Great to learn from you though. Look. The one thing I've learned from him, which from the show he did last night, who with? Amolia. The
yes. Yes.
He has a good way of interacting with the audience. So he's always asking the audience questions and for them to put answers in the always. And I think he even had a poll and poll on that standard QR code to answer the poll. I'm going to be doing more of that, Sean. I like to learn from people who are better than me, and you're really one of those people. Oh, my screen is frozen.
His Monday show is excellent, Annie. His Monday show is excellent.
Invite me, please. Just invite me. I need to start my device. I'll leave you to talk for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, I realize you're frozen. Let me just run through the comments and make sure that I've answered everything. Also, Ashif made a really great comment. Avoid going food shopping when hungry. So important. One of the worst things you can do is shop when you're hungry because everything looks good. And Paulette, you talked about that chocolate near the cashier. Yeah, the supermarkets are actually designed so that when you get to the cashier, the aisles are smaller. So you actually are even like almost bouncing into the chocolate. It's for you to make that impulse buy. So if you're going shopping when you're hungry, and I could tell when people are hungry in the supermarket when I'm observing them, anytime they get to the front and they just start looking left and right at the chocolates and start picking up, it's because they're shopping when they're hungry and the aisles are designed for that. So having a proper meal or walking with even a protein bar or a granola bar, even if it's higher in sugar and salt, if you haven't had anything for the day, it's better you have something so that you make more mindful choices.
I think it's really wrong for the kids though, Lisa, because that's the one thing. It's at children's height. They can see it, they can touch it, they can feel it. And to me, that is like torture for them.
Yes.
And when you say no, you're the bad parent, right? Because you didn't let them have it. But when you try to explain that you're going to have dinner when we get home, they're like, but I want this now. And, I think that needs to, I think there was some talk about an initiative through the EU where they were going to stop it. They were going to actually try to ban chocolate near the cashiers. Because it really is, especially for families, and especially when things are expensive like they are at the moment, extremely expensive, it makes it even harder to keep saying no to the kids. So just something to think on.
Yeah, there's a whole science behind supermarkets, how you pack the shelves. You pay more for premium shelves, so shelves that are at eye height with parents. Shelves that you talked about being eye height with the kids, you actually pay more for those. And there's a reason why. So there's a whole psychology behind it. They actually hire like psychologists and stuff to know where your product should be. So, I mean, if there's an initiative that the EU comes up with, that'll be great. Because even advertising for kids and stuff, the times you advertise foods is important and you pay more for that. Annie, you're back. And you're on mute. We're not hearing you.
No, it's okay. I'm better.
Have you been to the oven, Annie?
No. And I'm trusting.
Have you been to the oven to check?
No, I'm trusting my ribs. They're cooking nicely. Wendy, thanks for joining us. I just saw your comment. I didn't even know I put it up. So I lose everything every time I have to restart my StreamYard. So. I've lost most comments.
I think I got all the comments.
I think that's Alison.
All the questions.
Alison, welcome, glad you're here. So
okay. Oh gosh, yes.
Her new book. What have you seen? I haven't seen, Lisa.
I think I got to all the questions. If I haven't, I will go back into the comments and make sure I've gotten everything. I know, yeah, we've been talking for 2 hours. So I just wanted to say, well, one, for all those who shared the comments, reshared, reposted, came on stage. I'm sorry that Michael and I cannot remember the other person's name. But we will have an event every Tuesday, so feel free to come on stage and share or ask a question. This Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, I am having a free workshop for women who struggle with eating healthier when they don't feel like it, when they're struggling with symptoms. So I will put that link in the comments. Feel free to, you will get notes from it as well if you can't show up live. It's on Zoom Sunday, 4 p.m. I know, gosh, it's about what, midnight where you all are now? Yeah. So I'm gonna say thank you to you both, so that we could end, so that you all could, so that Paulette could go to bed. I know, and he's still gonna be up for hours to come. And
So will
says
you,
fried
Lisa.
chicken is his
Don't
best
blame
fried
me.
chicken.
I said,
I'm gonna get my slippers before I turn into a pumpkin.
Okay, we're
Yes.
going. Okay.
Yes, so thank you all for being here, whether you're watching live or on the replay. We will be back in 2 weeks for another wonderful conversation. And feel free, if you are struggling with symptoms, send me a DM or leave me a comment. Let's just have a conversation and see how I can support you.
Okay.
Have a good night, everyone. They're talking about fried chicken in the
Bye,
comments to
guys.
make me hungry.
Thank you.
They're
Bye-bye.
commenting. You can't comment now, a bit late, right? Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drama. She's success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. She's success with Global.Media.